Hey guys, it's Jim here, and welcome back to another episode and another week of Would I Rebuy This Guitar? But I'm going to start this off with a question that was kind of posed to me in the form of a comment on my biggest video, which is the American Professional 2 and why I sold it. The guy tried to allude that I only sold it because my wife saw that I had too many guitars. I went on a spending spree, and I tried to say that the Japanese one was just as good, if not better, to try and justify it to myself and that I might regret the purchase and just to admit it. And first of all, it made me laugh. I'm not mad at the guy for doing it because he even said in the comment he was projecting, but it got me to thinking, are there any guitars I genuinely regret selling? And there would be two. I regret selling the Custom Shop Telecaster, not because of how good it was. I regret selling it because of what it meant. And when I bought that guitar right when I got married. And the only other guitar that I truly regret selling is the one that I'm going to be talking about today. And that is the Fender 50th Anniversary Jaguar. Now in 2013, when I had fully committed to buying my first Fender offset guitar, I had it narrowed down to two that were in stock at Dave's Guitar Shop. That Jazzmaster and a 50th anniversary burgundy mist Jaguar. For whatever reason, I ended up with the Jazzmaster, and I always regretted not having enough money to have purchased both. Now the years have gone by and they've become more and more scarce. I think in the current market there are none available on Reverb for resale. And typically when they do come up for sale, it's the Candy Apple Red, which is the least desirable to color. They came in a Lake Placid Blue like the one I ended up buying, or the Burgundy Mist. Now, at the time that I bought this guitar, I was living in New York again, and I was really starting to kick around the idea of buying and selling guitars for a profit, not just kind of doing what 99% of most of us do, and that's lose money. We overspend and then we sell low. It's just a terrible cycle and we never end up ahead. So I decided to really start doing my homework here. Look out for deals, look out for rare guitars that I knew I could turn a profit on. And sure enough, the Craigslist, local to upstate New York, a guy was selling this guitar for $1,000 flat with a hard case. To me, this was the perfect compromise of a vintage and a modern Fender Jaguar. It had the block inlays that I really liked. It had the bound neck, which I really liked. But it had a 9.5-inch radius, which I loved. And if you know anything about the old Fenders, they're all 7 1/4, and that's fine. I have 7 1/4 guitars too. My JV Strat's a 7 1/4, but for general playing and just ease of use, I love 9.5. I love the modern radius. This had the gorgeous finish on it, but it didn't have the matching headstock either. So if I were to have kept this guitar, I probably would have paid the extra money and gotten the headstock painted to match it. However, tonally, this guitar was lights out. I had probably 3 or 4 Jags prior to that one, and I liked them all, but I hadn't found the one that I really loved. I loved this guitar. I wrote so many songs with this. The song that I played the other day, American Dream, on the Pink Jag, that was the first song that me and my wife had written in about a year and a half. I had just gotten that guitar and I was just sitting up late at night in the 3-season room with the Princeton and the Jaguar, and songs were just flying out of me like they hadn't been in years. And I think part of the reason I adore this new orange Mustang is because it does remind me of this Jag. This Jag, the way the neck felt, it had a good chunk on it, the modern radius, it didn't have any fret out issues. It felt great to play. It was a short scale. It was relatively light. It was under 8 pounds. It was everything. It stayed in tune. I never had to replace the bridge, anything like that. I threw on a bridge cover. That was it. No mastery needed. Didn't need to throw a Mustang bridge, anything of that kind of nature. It just worked. And it was one of the first times that I'd gotten a guitar used that I really didn't feel the need to put anything into. It was just absolutely spotless, absolutely perfect as soon as I got it. And the most important reason why I regret selling this guitar and why I love this guitar is because it was special in the sense that it got me playing and writing again. I had all these other guitars. I had the Custom Shop Telecaster at the time. I had the Corona Strat, the 62 reissue. I had the JV Strat. But where I was in my headspace and just kind of in life in general, I wasn't motivated to play. I didn't want to just do music anymore, if I'm being honest. I had all the gear. I built the music room, I love that room. I miss that room. I would love to have had that room out here or in a future house, but I didn't feel inspired to play. And the second I got this guitar and I plugged it in, it was just a light switch was just like, all right, you're back. You're a guitar player again. Let's go. And again, this was a guitar that was a casualty to the unfortunate events that led to me getting basically 3 days notice that I had to move back to San Diego from New York. So I sold that guitar, I sold the Mustang, I sold the pink Paisley Telecaster, and I sold my Taylor, my 214 CE. And I kept the other ones because to me, that guitar had already kind of served its purpose. It got me really motivated and really interested in playing and writing and creating again. It had kind of already done that for me, and I hadn't had it that long, whereas the other guitars had a lot more sentimental value for me, so it was one of the easier ones to let go. And it goes without saying, I made good money selling that instrument. And I think if you've made it this far in the video, obviously you already have your answer. I would absolutely rebuy this guitar in either the Burgundy Mist or the Lake Placid Blue. The problem is they're just so rare and they're really, really expensive. However, if it does go up and I have the money at the time, I'm going to pick it up 100%. These were amazing guitars. But that's where I'm going to leave you guys. Tomorrow, we're going to get right back into the Quad Cortex stuff. Don't you worry about that. Subscribe to the channel if you like everything I'm doing. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you want to see going forward outside of the Neural DSP stuff, because believe me, I got more than probably a month's worth of material that I'm going to get out of that thing, and I'd like to throw in some other stuff like I normally do in between. But I suppose this is the end of today's video, and yes, there are guitars I regret. This was one of them. Take it easy, you guys.